No custom work? That's, I guess, the official title. After brainstorming quickly was ChatGPT. What did you use as a prompt? I'm very curious.
Let me check. I think it was just like, give me podcast names or something like really. I'm not that advanced of a user. Wait, let me check. I need good podcast names for our company. It's called Service Provider Pro,
Wow,
and we
that
talk
was
about digital agency, SaaS marketing, etc.
okay. I wonder why it suggested a no custom work. But I guess it makes sense. If you're a SaaS, yeah, maybe.
The first round. Wait, what was it? Well, the first round had some ideas, and then I said, uh, give me more ideas. Edgy is fine too, because it asked if I want edgy ideas. I'm like, fine.
What was the edgy ideas it had? I didn't see anything too crazy. I think the names
Uh,
were pretty safe.
Edgy plus catchy, scope creep, churn and
Okay.
burn, retainers only.
But that doesn't work for SaaS. So this is like very agency specific.
Yeah, I think like we landed on a pretty decent name where like the our customers don't do custom work. We don't do custom work with exceptions, right?
With
Because our customers
exceptions.
sometimes do custom work, and we also sometimes do custom work, but very rarely.
Should be the subtitles, no custom work, and then in brackets most of the time.
This is like every guy on Twitter who's like known for always do this or never do this. They have the tagline, and it's for it to be catchy. You cannot be like always do this except in these like few scenarios. You cannot like add conditionals to that. It has to be like very broad strokes, and then people are like, yeah, but what about this exception? Well, yes, of course, do that. It's just like we cannot make it catchy by covering all the exceptions. This isn't a legal document.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in our case, we do make the exceptions, but for enterprise customers, right? Like this is specifically what that plan is for. If they want something added on top of SPP, then we can build it for them.
But we are very reluctant to do it.
For
Like it
sure.
has to make sense for a man. If you come to us with an idea that's so specific, it's like where nobody else could benefit from this. We don't see how this fits into anything we're doing. It's not really great. But that's rare. I think most people who are doing agencies do have some kind of when they want to automate something, they have something that other people would probably want to do as well.
Sure. Or it's usually they want some tool integrated, like with agency analytics. Like it's not something nobody would use, right? Agency analytics is like more or less the market leader when it comes to all the SEO specific reporting. So of course anyone would want it as well, if you can pay for their cool enterprise plan to get the API key.
What do you think about like how we did our plan changes? We used to call it enterprise, and now we call it plus. It's been like that for I think some time now.
Yeah.
It's good, but internally we sometimes call it enterprise. So
We still call them enterprise customers for some reason, I guess, internally. I guess enterprise is a weird word where you think, my God, this is like 1,000 plus people, which obviously the plan doesn't support. It's like for 50 people. So an enterprise sounds a bit like very businessy to me. Like if you target like teams of 50, it's not like, my God, people in suits are sitting there. It's an enterprise business. Like managers
yeah,
have managers and they also have managers. It's just not the case. So
yeah,
I think it scares people away. It's like, oh my God, enterprise is not for me. Just based on the name, they would not consider themselves an enterprise agency, right?
yeah, for sure. And I think like these days you can have an agency that does like a few million per year with not that many people, and essentially you're just a guy or a gal with some like contractors. Those people never think of themselves as enterprise, and if they do, we probably they're not a good fit. Then maybe they're more old school as an agency.
Yeah, I think now with AIs, I think I listened to a podcast with one lady. She had an one lady agency, I guess, and with AI and all these agents, she was running everything by herself. So it's actually very cool. So I'm not sure where the line is between being just a freelancer and an agency, because these one person agencies I would not consider an agency. Like you're still just one person. Like, are you really an agency?
Yeah, that's a good point. But hmm, yeah, with AI agents, why not? Like, because the amount of work you can do is not really proportionate to just being what you'd expect from a freelancer, because you could do so much more.
Exactly.
Like speaking of this, is also like um, the headcount, where many companies in the industry, they work with a freelancer for like 1 hour a month, and it's like, we're a team of like 20, whereas it's actually a core team of three and a bunch of other people. How do you count these people? That's always an interesting question, because for us, they got to pay for the seats, and so if somebody's doing just a little bit of work each month, it doesn't make sense to pay or to upgrade to a higher plan for that.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting point because I guess some people are very price sensitive, right? They don't want to pay $20 a month for someone who is logging in maybe, I don't know, for like 5 hours per week, but you still pay full price for them. But also, how would we manage it? Like time-based pricing is impossible for us to manage. So I'm not sure how they're handling it, but I guess they're like eating the cost more or less. If the profit margins are high enough, I guess they can do it.
Yeah, or they. I think most of the time, it's the core team is always on SPP, but then we have cases where people want to do like almost like a Fiverr model, where they're not the agency, that they're not doing the work, but they have a pool of freelancers who may or may not get the jobs depending on some criteria. And then for you to have this whole pool in our software, it doesn't make that much sense, but we've had that happen and people have paid for it. And then if you think about it, like if somebody cannot generate like $20 per month, it's not really that great,
No, I think it's not a big amount of money. Like it doesn't really matter how many hours that freelancer works. Like you should budget $20 per hour per month for that specific freelancer. And yeah, what you were saying earlier, I think I also talked to someone who wanted a similar model. They were like, I want to invite all the freelancers into the portal, and basically they can see all the orders and they just pick whatever they want on a per first customer per what, how would you call it? It's like per first
First
time.
come, first serve.
Exactly, like first come first serve basis. And I was like, that's interesting, but you still have to pay for all these team members, right? So if you have 100 freelancers sitting in the client portal, you're still paying for them, even if they don't do anything, which I guess then made them rethink the entire strategy because it doesn't make much sense, right? For them, it would be beneficial because you have a big pool of freelancers and you get the stuff done quickly, right? Because whoever is online is just going to do it. But you also have to pay the $20 per month for 100 people. So
I don't know. I think if we're 100% realistic here, the the I guess what you call manpower to complete a job or a project is very rarely the limiting factor, because it's usually like, how do you get the clients? It's like you could get a Shopify store set up with AI, and you pull in like some products and stuff and everything's automatic, but is that's the easy part. The hard part is, how do you get so many clients that you have to scale up, and then you start having these problems where you have like qualified people that are overworked, and then they have to bring in more people and make the whole operation really efficient. Just like throwing a huge quantity of freelancers in the system, and now you have 100 different types of services that you offer. What does it get you? Like nothing. So it probably even detrimental. It's like when you go to a restaurant and they have like 50 different options. You know, none of that is going to be fresh.
For sure, no, that's where I stay away from. When I see the international cuisine and it has everything from American food to Italian and Japanese, then you know it's probably not going to be that great. With agencies, I guess it's similar. Like, how many agencies are there that can do everything and everything well? So they probably specialize in something, but when you go to the agency website and have this gigantic menu of like 8 rows with services and sub-services, maybe think twice about it.
Yeah, yeah, more is not better in this case, probably. And this is also a reputation question where how can you create reputation of being awesome in all these areas? That takes a long time to even do in one area.
For sure. Like the big agencies, they're known for doing something good. I don't know, you have like animals is like good for content, and you have something for design, but something for I don't know, mobile apps, something like that, but nobody does everything. Yeah, but still, I think it's very rare. This marketplace approach, I think, just doesn't work with SPP, and it's probably difficult for an agency to begin with. Like, I'm not sure how you would even have such a big pool of freelancers because you can't promise them anything. Because I was also a freelancer and I did this before. Like I tried different marketplaces, right? But then you have to check like 5 different marketplaces and be super quick to get the job, which is terrible for you because you waste time just hunting things. So I'd rather work, which I also did. I worked with agencies who had big clients, and then they just passed the jobs on to you. So I knew immediately I would always get some cool job without actually looking for it. They just contact you. Do you want to do this? Sure. Then I can get working. Looking for jobs on the side is not going to be very beneficial.
Yeah, I guess it can work if we just. I guess technically there's nothing limiting it from working. So it's just like a pricing issue. Like we do a custom deal where you get up to this many users for a fixed price. That could go, I think.
True.
Yeah, yeah, because like technically, it's nothing too complex about it. Like there's a new order, everybody gets a notification. The first one to click to assign it to themselves, like prevents other people from claiming it, and that's
Yeah.
how you sort of. Because we even have that thing where you can set a permission level where contractors only see orders that they have access to or any unclaimed orders. So they continue working on their stuff. They see there's something unclaimed. They go in, assign themselves, bam, it's theirs. And then...
Yeah, and what prevents them from just assigning 20 orders to them but not doing them?
We had to build this for this one customer, you know, where it was like I think a limit per the total amount of pending words or articles, something like that. It was, I mean, yeah. But I think that's another like high level problem where if somebody continues doing that, you tell them, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, there's usually a simple solution to these complex problems.
Yeah, I mean, you can moderate it a bit. I guess there's always a manager sitting there and just checking if everything is getting done on time, the deadlines are not missed, there's nobody assigning 20 orders in bulk to themselves and then they are falling behind. So yeah.
It's also nice that you can see exactly who did what, where maybe like if you think about Mad Men or the old school agencies where somebody like where an intern would do the work, like Peggy would do the work and Don would like claim credit for it, you know.
Exactly.
Like
yeah, it's cool. I think the history, the update to the history, the way it looks is one of the coolest things that probably not a lot of people maybe care that much about, but I actually like it that you have like a little bit of icons. You can see a little bit better the history, who did what. And yeah, it's easy to go into the history and check the logs. So at least for us, when we troubleshoot, it's good. It's easier to find things. It's visually nicer, and I hope for the clients as well, because they always ask us, okay, why did this invoice get paid or whatever by some person? And it's like, you have this nice history at the bottom. You can click on it. You see exactly what happened, especially when like a payment failed. Then you have the reason in there. So you don't even have to go to Stripe. You can see in the log of that specific failed payment what happened.
Yeah, yeah, I like that as well. There's all of these things that seem to make a ton of sense now is like hard-won knowledge, because we've had to like debug stuff by checking server logs or something. It's like, oh, this gets old. Let's add some logs that you can check yourself. There you go. That's like easy win. And
Yeah.
so over the years, you tack on a bunch of little things like that, and that's how you get the complete product. Whereas if you start fresh, like we did with Backlink Pilot, we don't know what we don't know. We just like put something together. This seems all right. It's very simplistic. It's three screens pretty much. And then, oh, okay, so people want to do things in bulk. They want to see what happened. They want to like click on certain things, find what belongs to what, all of this. And this expands the scope of everything.
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah, but it's also good when you use your own product and you can actually build features that are also useful for you, but also for your clients, because we use SPP every day in different forms. It's not just the tickets. I use it with Amalia, I like to manage the entire partnership side. So we use both the tickets to communicate with partners, but the orders we use between us when we like build like new links, or we try to get quotes for different blog posts, stuff like that. So we like reuse it for a different purpose, which is good because she has a different perspective. Since she isn't like that involved in the development of SPP, right? She uses it more as a normal user. So then she's always like, she can give us feedback from a different perspective, is what is really helpful.
I know you're using it because you posted that rate limiting screenshot where it's like, we prevent you from creating too many tickets because you could use that to spam people. You're like,
True.
oh,
I totally
hit that limit. You're a power user. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to reach out to people for case studies. Obviously, when you're like doing it and you have a big list, you want to get it done in that moment. And I was like, okay, and I'll have to chill and wait until it resets.
Which might be good, probably for our deliverability.
Probably, yeah, for sure.
What do you think about Backlink Pilot? So that's our other little SaaS project that we started. How's that going? How much are you using it?
Yeah, it is so helpful. Like right now, since I'm focusing more on content updates, I'm using it less, but I still have to check. Like when I'm updating a post, I have to check if there are partner links inside, right? So I just I copy paste the URL into Backlink Pilot, and then I can see exactly what kind of links are from the partners inside. You don't want to go in and do what other people do and just start deleting stuff and nobody will notice, or that's what they think. So I use it specifically for that. And then I have to be very careful that while optimizing the post and changing things, that I don't delete the backlinks as I go in. Yeah.
People do that. And that's also why we build Backlink Pilot, because people go in the posts and like willy-nilly delete stuff, and then the backlink that you fought for so hard is gone.
And you will not know.
Have that tracking, maybe like you'd see that 2 months later in the Hrefs report or something. I don't know.
Yeah, with Hrefs it's tricky because I think it depends how big your website is. Since we're pretty big, they find most of our backlinks. But sometimes like a new link pops up and I check the report and it's like, man, this link is from like 2 years ago. It's not new, but Ahrefs just discovered it. So it's good to track at least the partner links by yourself, and the free links you get through whatever good content. Ahrefs is good at picking it up if it's a big website. But I would not rely on it for any partner links for sure. You might as well use just a Google sheet. And then,
if you're like paying, that's even worse. If you're like paying for PR or stuff, then you want to make sure you're getting what you're paying for.
Yeah, I think it's everyone's responsibility to just keep track of your links. Like the partners, they try to do their best. Maybe it's not like it's malicious that people delete links. Sometimes it's just, it is. Let's not be let's say it how it is, because I've seen people completely delete all backlinks they gave people in batch. So that must be malicious. Like they've done it consciously. It wasn't an oopsie, I deleted one post. No, they deleted a lot of posts and a lot of links. Or the posts were still online, but they just removed external links and kept the internal ones. So that's a very bad move on their end, and you should know when it happens, and then you just delete their links. Everyone is back to zero.
And then meanwhile, we got Amalia posting AI generated pics of what her cats would look like as people on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
This is the world has come to this.
this is peak entertainment. But at least she's not following all the stupid trends. Like everyone on posts the same thing. Either it's the Ghibli style ChatGPT nonsense, or it's that
That's
weird action toy or whatever it's supposed to be that I've also seen. It's like, cool, like, why are you just following blind trends? She actually did something fun. I think this was way better. It wasn't boring.
yeah. Huh, I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that ChatGPT, just by releasing features, got such big promotions basically for free with some copyrighted material, if we are honest, because it's not a random anime style. It's specifically Ghibli, which is
Yeah.
the biggest studio everyone knows. So that's always fun.
I can see in Cloudflare that our content is getting crawled by AI bots as well, where it's like two types of crawls. Ones are like just people on demand asking for stuff, and the other one is I think like informational where they train the AI. I think
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's
probably
good.
like yeah, we
They,
are losing probably search volume to ChatGPT.
I think we're losing it to AI overviews from Google. So I think that's worse because ChatGPT still gives some links. And from what I've seen, there are referrers in the signups as well from ChatGPT. So even if people get an answer, if it's not linked, I think this is when you get the direct hits. They would search for Service Provider Pro, click on the first result, bam, they hit our website. But with the Google AI overviews, they give you so much information, sometimes they're just not gonna click on anything. Although there's this little round link that you can click that people probably don't even see.
I wasn't aware.
Exactly my points.
Remember the pic that I sent you in marketing was like somebody went to the mechanic to fix the problem with their car, and they had like Googled what the problem could be and printed out the first result, which is the AI overview, and put it
Yeah,
in the car's dashboard for the mechanic to see.
exactly.
There you go.
No, it's very interesting because we talked about the vibe coding, but I think also it changes how people use like to search for things. Like for some things, maybe still go on Google. Like if it's some local search, you will probably go on Google, right? But if you want to ask something about Stripe, like I was like, should I just go into Stripe's documentation and waste 10 minutes finding the answer, or should I ask Claude? I did ask Claude, obviously, because it's faster. I still have to double check if it's correct, but it just helps you answer questions quicker than Google sometimes, because Google is maybe it shows me Stripe's documentation first. Maybe it shows me some other 5 blog posts that are related to this. And then I'm still not sure if it's the correct answer because it's outdated.
I've had the same problem with uh, asking AI for like documentation related info, and it's like giving, for example, you ask about some Tailwind stuff, it's like older versions
Hmm.
that it like doesn't have, for some reason it doesn't have the full like up to date knowledge. But I saw that Stripe in their docs, and they have like the best in class docs for sure. There's a drop down to like chat with ChatGPT about this or something like that, and then another option to export this article in Markdown for like your AI needs.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I love
So I don't know.
Markdown. Uh, I
Maybe they
did,
even have like a GPT that uh, that has all the info already. That would make sense. Probably that's the other button, the chat about this doc.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, speaking of Markdown, because I was listening to a podcast yesterday and they was trying to prompt ChatGPT to do nice images because people rave about it, but it's very hard if you want to do actually something very specific. Like if you tell it to do a glass of wine, it's going to look amazing. Once you go into adding different texts and stuff, it's very hard. And the guy was talking about using Markdown actually to write proper prompts because you have to be extremely specific. You can bold things, you can make proper lists with Markdown when you write your prompt. I do the same in Claude because otherwise it's going to get confused. And you can also use tags. If you give it, for example, examples, you put it in an example tag, you can have instructions, you can tell it if there are specific file attachments, and the more detailed, the better. Then it turns out usually pretty well. But yeah, in that prompt, just to get an image right, you have to tell it in the bottom left, write this, top left, write this, style it this way, do a circle here. Like, it's not going to read your mind, and usually it's very bad at coming up with things for a design perspective.
At least it can write now, because remember when in the past you'd ask it to have some text and just be gibberish.
Yeah, but it still happens. Like, and I think the weird thing is when you try to edit images, it just gets worse. So it's probably better to refine your prompt and start new than trying to edit something. Like even if you tell it just change the background to a different color, it will probably fail or it will change something else in the process.
Oh, if you're doing images, we still have that Midjourney subscription, and I know how much you hate Discord, but
Oh
I think
boy.
they like a couple of months ago like made a proper UI where you can actually do some stuff from the web without
Also,
having to go in Discord. Imagine that.
this is such a stupid idea to go into Discord to start chatting with AI. And
I don't
sorry,
know.
but their UI is terrible. Like there's so much stuff going on. It's very distracting. It's like you're in some gamer Slack thing. I don't like it. It's just not for me.
This is what like Zoomers say is Slack like Discord for boomers or something like that.
Basically.
No, but like I think it on some level it's a really smart move to use an already existing system that like is able to scale infinitely. Like you don't have to build your own front end pretty much. Yeah, the user experience is going to be maybe not ideal and more geared towards the type of people who would like Discord, which is perfect for them if it's like a beta kind of thing where they're just testing it out. And now that it's gone more mainstream, that you can do a proper UI.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to launch it. Why not? If it works, it works. Just for me, it was too much to try it out. Like I'm not beta testing in some weird chat app. Sorry.
Yeah, and then you can also see what other people are trying to do. That was,
Exactly.
I think, probably like a great thing because you could learn from other people's prompts. You just scroll through the channels and see what other people are doing, and maybe if you see something you like, then you see the prompt for it. I can see how that was pretty smart, and then it
Mm.
run its course, and now it's time to do something else.
Yeah, thinking about this community aspect, some people asked us why we don't have like a community for the SPP users. Like, why is there no big Slack channel? Can you imagine moderating everyone in a Slack channel or like Slack channels?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a different kind of business. That's a media business, or I don't know, like a community business, where we see the, I think, Grow Your Agency Slack. They're
Mhm.
doing all right. They have tons of members, but there's still not much activity in the Slack, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
wondering if they really think they would like learn from each other or what the big benefit would be. Because if you're busy, I'm not sure you're going to hang out on Slack all day trying to give tips to your competitors. So,
oh, that's a valid point because we have a bunch of customers where they are extremely like, privacy oriented, where they don't want anyone to know that they're using SPP, let alone promote us or share tips with their competitors, like you said.
yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense, right? Because they invest a lot of time in all the processes and everything. You don't want to overshare that necessarily so your competitors can steal your ideas. So, it makes sense. makes it tricky for us even to get them into case studies, because then if it's a case study, people know, well, they're using SPP, which is very
Yeah.
interesting.
There, I think there's two types of founders in general, where one category of founders, they're just, they have a successful business and they keep quiet about it, and the other side of it is where they, I don't know if, like, you don't really know how they're doing, but they're like very vocal about it. So at the very least, they're building their own kind of media side of the business, which on some level we are now. What is that about? I don't know, but yeah, I guess, like, from what I've heard, it is extremely tough to go from a media brand to a SaaS, because the people who like follow you for, I don't know, for entertainment and stuff, they will not pay monthly for a SaaS. It's like a different kind of thing. Whereas for us, where we have a successful SaaS company and we have clients and we have customers, I should say, not clients, customers, we we just get to connect with them better by like putting more info out there. Um,
Yeah, that's maybe where I guess some of the agencies also they do the founder-led marketing, but sometimes founder, sometimes it's someone else, because whoever is like happy to be on LinkedIn all day, take pictures, videos, and stuff like that, they would be like the public figure of that specific company. It doesn't have to be the founder, can be anyone. I think I mentioned at some point, like Ahrefs has Tim there. He's not the founder, but he's the public figure everyone associates
mm,
with Ahrefs, right? So that's a pretty cool thing, especially if it's someone more technical. I think that's always interesting. You can get some different information from them than just normal CEOs or founders who like know for maybe a little bit about the company, but not the technical side of things. That's a very different thing.
yeah, yeah, especially for agencies, because like you are buying expertise, even if it's packaged as a product. Even if you're buying, like, I don't know, like 10 articles, you're still buying that expertise, because if you didn't care about the expertise, you could get it done on Upwork by some anonymous person on the other side of the world for cheap, you know. But people do value that expertise, and for sure, if you're an agency, people gotta know who's behind it, why, like, is this legit? These kinds of questions.
And do they have good case studies? Now we can circle back to case studies, because I see them a lot on LinkedIn. Like they post anonymized case studies, or we increase traffic by this and that. Usually they can't tell who it is about, obviously, but sometimes they say it's a tech SaaS and they increased, I don't know, clicks from 5K to 10K, which I think is good. This actually tells you they doubled it, and they didn't start from zero, because I've seen case studies where it's like we increased clicks by
Yeah, yeah.
1,569%. I was like, from zero, that doesn't mean anything. You basically build a blog from zero, which is cool, but then don't link the percentage to it. It makes it look very bad, basically. Like you're not saying anything if it's from zero.
Yeah, yeah. That, I think what you're talking about is the too good to be true kind of thing, where we try to avoid it as well, like really hard. Like we never promise, oh, you're gonna make this much money because you're gonna have everything's gonna be automated and you're gonna have save 20% on your head count. Like none of that stuff. Like
Yeah.
we don't do that.
The only thing we
Yeah,
can tell people is maybe how much money they would save just by subscribing to SPP compared to like 10 different tools. Like we've seen the
oh yeah,
pricing comparisons where you have like G Suite plus Airtable plus whatever else. That's going to add up, and it's going to be more than SPP if you go for basic. So this is something where you can make some savings, which actually it
yeah.
does, because even in our case studies, we talk to people and they used to have a lot of tools. And once you do the math, because it's like $5 here, $20 here, times 20 people, it's going to add up to a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. No, but the premium is you could, even if it was less to have 10 different tools, you still have the overhead of making sure everything works together. So I think like to put 10 tools all in one, the price has to be higher than the 10 tool price combined, right? Because the added value is that everything is integrated. I think that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But again, there are some things which we're not going to touch that are better as standalone products. I don't know, like live chat, or what else is along those lines? Like meeting bookings. I think like pick one of the industry standard tools, and the great thing about industry standard tools is that everybody knows how to use them. So if you hire a new employee, they've used Calendly before, they know like what it is, and then they're very well connected. Everybody's got all the Make, Zapier, all that stuff, APIs, documentation. That's the big one. So
Yeah,
we try
like
to use industry standard stuff as much as we can, even if it's more expensive.
yeah, I'm wondering how much these like I think like Intercom went very well with the AI stuff because they were like live chat is cool, but I'm pretty sure people want the AI bots that are actually smarter than people or can answer things faster because you can train your people as much as you want, but answering any type of question about a very complex tool like SPP is not going to be easy because sometimes you still have to verify your information is correct, so you'd have to double check. While AI can do it in milliseconds, I guess, because it already has this information. So it can give a correct answer most of the time pretty quickly.
Have you seen that? Like, I've noticed an interesting thing with like help support ticketing systems, where with AI they've shifted the value metric from seats, like the seats you're paying for, to resolved tickets, where their AI is helping you resolve more tickets more quickly, so you pay more,
Mm.
essentially. So
So
it's shifted the entire industry.
you're being billed after the fact then? Or is there still a
Yeah,
recurring subscription plus the metered whatever tickets?
yeah. I guess it's just like metered, same as AWS, where at the end of the month you get the invoice for whatever you used.
Hmm. I mean, it's good and bad. Like, imagine you get spammed all day and close tickets, and it categorizes it as like a resolved ticket, and it's actually not. So,
This is why you need some kind of rate limits and stuff. And then
yeah,
you have a legit customer who's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you because you've hit the rate limit. Too bad."
yeah, yeah. But I think I'm wondering, it's not just about like resolving tickets. I was also wondering if it's good for lead generation because imagine you have like not cold leads, but warm leads hitting your landing page, and they're like, I'm almost ready to click on the trial button, but I have some questions on the pricing page and I don't want to scroll down and check for myself. So if you had this AI bot that could answer two, three key questions and then that converts them into a hot lead, that's pretty cool.
These are big promises that companies are making right now, where all AI is going to automate your lead gen. Might not be true right now, but I think pretty soon it'll probably be, you know.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the funnel of each company. Like, I think in our case, we just get very good leads to begin with. Like, when they land on our website, they're pretty warm. They just need a little push, and it's usually the demo call. But it also would be interesting to see how they would interact with like an AI lead generation helper that just answers like two questions they have right now. Because I think people are impatient. So if they're on your website and they see well, you don't have live chat, so they'd have to either give us a call or they have to send an email, you might lose them if they don't get that answer in that moment.
Mm-hmm. I think we gotta like grow a little bit as far as the capabilities of AI when people actually start being okay with, oh, this is AI, okay, fine. Because right now, what happens a lot of time is they see it's an AI chatbot and they spam talk to a human, because they don't trust that it'll be all right. But once it's gotten even better and it's established as like a decent way to solve problems, and people trust that it will not be a giant waste of time, essentially, then I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, I feel like companies that will actually provide expert human support are gonna stand out from the crowd, where everything else is automated, AI generated, not that in depth, where maybe they can answer your question, but they cannot diagnose the real problem. Like I recently learned of this. What was this? Like I gotta look it up. The A-B problem concept, where like somebody asks, "How do I do X?" and like an AI would answer, "Okay, you do this and this and this," and then a human is like, "Why do you want to do that?" And then turns out they actually want to solve an entirely different problem, and I think that by solving this problem, this will help solve them the unrelated problem. So it takes like a human to understand that, like to read between the lines and figure out what the real problem is.
Right. Yeah. Very interesting.
This is especially relevant to like discussions of features where you say, okay, I want this feature, and we're like, okay, why do you want that feature? Oh, it's an entirely different problem. And had we built that feature, we just would have made things worse for no reason without solving the real problem.
Yeah, I think it happens a lot when we ask customers and they want a feature, but then you actually have to ask, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Because sometimes they think it would work one way, but there's a better way, or they're looking at it a completely different perspective that doesn't make sense in SPP. So asking about the problem, that's the good way to go on about it, not just implementing a random feature the customer came up with, because they're not software developers. So
if we had an AI, we should instruct it to ask questions from the mom test book about like, what's the real problem? You know, what are you doing now to solve that problem? What other solutions have you looked into? You know.
Yeah, I was wondering about this when, ChatGPT has the deep research, and my theory is it's just a gigantic prompt that it has. And in that prompt, when you ask it to do the research, it will probably ask you questions before doing the research. It's usually 3 questions. You can do the same thing in Claude as well. When you have a project, you can put in some project knowledge and you can give it instructions, and then you can put in the instructions, ask after getting a prompt some specific things, for example, right before starting to think, even just ask something. So
and this is why the support agents, AI support agents, always are like, repeat the question back to the user and confirm that they understood it correctly. I think that's part of the root prompt for all of that.
Basically, yeah. There's a reason prompt engineering exists. Like just using AI and writing 1-sentence prompts is not going to do much, because then you give AI.
That worked for this podcast.
It worked. This was such a simple solution.
It's like what? It's like the meme of the big brain guy on the one hand and the dumb guy on the other hand. Yeah. Both ask like a simple question and get a simple answer, and the guy in the middle has like 20-page prompt.
Right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. We'll be back with another episode very soon. More random topics coming in.
Well, we covered some ground. We'll prepare better for next time. No guarantees, though.
No guarantees, because it's unscripted. That's what makes it fun.